There by
Recording in progress.
35.
What page?
All right, good morning, everybody. Today is good question.
I got the wrong
yeah.
one.
So today is Daf Test. We're actually halfway through Daf Test.
I have the wrong one.
Yeah, I'll get you one. So today is
Well,
we're halfway through. I didn't touch everything this time.
what do they do there?
Yeah, 1 second.
It's great. How about on the bottom?
Here
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Get,
What page?
if anyone needs good morning.
Tessie.
Tessie. There you go.
Yes, okay, now I know.
Zev is ready living the lingo there.
Now I'll find that right away.
Yeah, all right. So today's Daf Test. So Fridays is Daf Yud. Mitzvah Shem are actually going to do Daf Yud also today.
Yes.
As we said, we're gonna- and then the next time we meet Mitzvah Shem is Sunday morning at 6:45. So there is no shear tonight. So we left off actually at the bottom of Testament Aleph. There is no Daf Yud tonight. That's why we're going ahead. So this way we did Fridays and then Saturday and Sunday we'll do Sunday morning Mitzvah Shem. All right. So 4 lines from the bottom of Testament Aleph, and away we go. So Tanur Rabbanan. In 3 aspects, there is a similarity between the a divorce document. Thank you very much. A divorce document and also an emancipation document. Documents, right? The get shikhr, which frees an eved, and 3 ways. So shavel malacha maybe they are similar in the way that one who goes ahead and delivers, as mentioned in the previous Mishnah, that one has said b'fanai nechta b'fanai nechta. Number 2, v'chol get sheyesh lav 8 kusi pasel chut megitin asheshech avadim. And any get that has the signature of l'chayra, it says over here, a single kusi witness. So we'll soon see that, right? A kusi, they were from the Kuthians, right? The Kusim, who were their what's it called? Their conversion was under question, whether it's Lishma, then later on, and they accepted the mitzvahs, they didn't. And therefore, basically, we even though they might be Jews, we don't necessarily view all their mitzvahs as essentially later on as legit. So therefore, any get sheyesh lav a kusi pasol chutz megitin shechar avadim, except when it comes to a get and shechar avadim, their signature is good enough. And what's another similarity? Case of the v'chol shtaros ha'olim bar kais she'aved chaver, and any documents that are signed. Any documents that go through the Goyish parts, even though the signatures perhaps on the document are of the Chavim, Ksherim, those are kosher, except for because there could be some sort of na'manus there when it goes to the courts. However, they are not commanded in the mitzvahs of Gittim and Kedushin, and they are also not commanded in terms of owning, right, avadim, right, an Eved Kanani. So therefore, right, so over there, since they don't have those mitzvahs, they're not careful what to sign, and therefore they're not trusted when it comes to those documents. Regular documents, sale document, that's fine, but when it comes to a get or shechar avadim, they are not believed. And because of Reb Meir, there's actually a 4th one. There's a 4th case. One who goes in and says, "Give this get to my wife," or "Give this star shechar to my eved. I'm going to go ahead and free him, hand it to him," and then he changes his mind. Says Reb Meir, he's allowed to go ahead and go back. He's allowed to go ahead and ask and say, "You know what? Don't deliver it." So. So now, according to the Rabbanan, so that was the case. Now, when the Rabbanan say, "Hey, there's 3 cases that are similar, so it means 3, not 4." What's the 4th? So to exclude the case of Meir, they argue in terms of saying that you can't be chayzer once you give a get to a shaliach, or somebody else will soon see why. Rabbi Meir, why does he say 4? What could be a potential 5th case? So let me tell the tiny that was in a brisa. Witnesses that don't know how to sign. So we tear a piece of paper off, or we chalak mamliim as a crime. Dio. we go ahead and basically scratch, what the letters of their name is, and they go ahead and fill it in, and that is sufficient as a signature. So I'm showing a layup about the Amurim, but Gitei Nashim says that's only by Gitei Nashim, Ashikar Vadim, Mishakal Ashtaras. No, but however, when it comes to other shtaros, then that doesn't work. If they know how to read and write, then they can sign, being live, and if not, then they can't go ahead and sign. So therefore, excluding this case, that you might think that maybe in this case that Get Shikhr and Gitei Nashim are similar. So therefore, no, this case is excluded by Rabbi Meir. They're not similar. So Gemara says, by the way, Kriya man d'char shmei. Right? Who's talking about Kriya? We're talking about someone who doesn't know how to sign a name. You say if they know how to read and write, right? We're talking about. So the Gemara says, no, this is how it should be written. Witnesses that do not know how to read, then currently then we read the document in front of them, the chaismin, and then they and then sign. And those that don't even know how to sign, then we go ahead and we, help them sign. We basically have them, fill in their names after we scratch on a piece of paper.
They can put in an X.
Not an X, but their name. You can scratch out their name. So the Gemara says, middle of the page in Testament Bays, the Sulaka, and there's no other cases where there's a similarity between Gitei Nashim and Shikhr Avadim. Person says, give this get to my wife, or this shtar shikhr to my slave, who mace, and then the guy who said it died. Do not go ahead and deliver the get after misa. You do not go ahead and give a get shikhr. However, if it was the case of a person says Tanu Mana Laplani, go ahead and give $100 to so and so. Umeis, he's in lachar misa. You can go ahead and give it after. You can give it after.
Give us
No, it's not shashikhr, right? So plenty knows.
If he died, you can't give a get, so you give a shashifo.
But he died.
Family,
it doesn't work. It doesn't work after lachar misa, right? Lo yitnu lachar misa. You can't give a get after he died. So therefore, he died before the get was delivered. Huh?
No, like that.
Well, the difference will be by Yibum, right?
When you die, you get not retroactive, is it? When she actually gets it, how? When she gets it, therefore.
No. It would. Well, if you hold, there's Engel Achamisas because of this, because of that reason. Those are Engel Achamisa, right? But if you hold this Engel Achamisa, then it would work with Lemafrei. Or it should be at least a divorced woman that she wouldn't have to be doing Yibum. It depends how you look at it. Right, Cohen, right. So, the question is she Amana or is she a Grusha, right?
Let's assume he doesn't die.
Right. Gives a get.
He gets it 3 days later. Is the get file 3 days before? Is the file actually physically different?
Well, when she gets it, we'll see. We'll talk about Zechia very soon because the person would be Zeich or something, and right. So now,
Case with the slave.
I'm sorry.
It's a more difficult case with the slave.
Well, yeah.
Because it gets inherited by the
full house.
Oh, by the if he dies and he really goes to the Yarship, and the Yarship said, "Okay, where's our slave?" He says, "What do you mean he was freed?" So we'll see a little bit about this case. So if a person says Shnu Mana, but if he says go ahead and then you can go ahead and give them money. Now, so the Gemara says, so I over here, first of all, there's a similarity between these two cases, right? There's Ein Get Le'Achar both by Gitei Nashim and Shikhr Avadim. So the Gemara says, no, Ki Ketani Milsa, the Lesi B'Shtaros. We're talking about stuff that are not, also similar to other shtaros. However, most of these are shtaros, like Tani, but something that is common amongst other documents, that you don't do. And in other words, other documents, you also don't give Le'Achar Misa. Why is that? The Shalach Rabbi Mishmei the Rabbi Yavo, Havi Yoidim Shalach Rabbi Ezra the Gaila. Shur Rabbeinu was sent to the Gaila in the name of Rabbeinu. Shchimira Sha'amar Kisvu Tnuman Lapani. A person who's dying, and he says, "Write this get. I'm going to give someone. I'm going to give you $1,000 or Tnuman Laploni," and says on there, "I'll give you money." Umeis, and then he died. Ein Kaisvin v'Nais. Right? You don't go ahead and write it and give it. Shema Le'Gamar Le'Knasa El B'Shtar. Maybe he wanted only to go ahead and have the guy acquire his gift through a document. And there is no shtar le'achar misa. So no, it's not just the halacha when it comes to gittin or halacha when it comes to shechar avadim, right? A document also has to work while the person who gave it, even though the shliach didn't deliver it yet, he has to deliver it while the guy is still alive. If he's not alive, then you can't. Then the shtar is not necessarily upheld. So the Gemara says, turns its direction. Says, lishma. So what about lishma? In other words, it has to be a get has to be the shema written for her, right? And get shikha has to be written for him, right? And signed for him. So bishlam l'Rabba, according to Rabba, it says, yeah, the first case was that both get and then shtar shikha are both yeti malach maybe. If one goes to Medina Sayyam or from Medina Sayyam, right? Then he has to go ahead and say it was written and signed in front of me. So that's already a similarity. So Ella l'Rava, but according to Rava, kasha shouldn't it also, if it has to be lishma, shouldn't it also be written? Right, knows that these types of documents have to be right in lishma. And furthermore, what about something that is attached to the ground? We saw earlier that a get shichrer, right, or a get, right, for a woman cannot be written on something which is attached to the ground. It has to be written, and then it can't be something that's attached to the ground. So the Gemara answers, Kitani, that list which we had. Psula derabanan. Those are kosher midaraisa, but midarabanan we said those are pasul, right? If you don't say fanei nechto, right? If you don't those cases, all right, deraisa look done, but something which is not good deraisa that's not written. In other words, that you have to have ksiva, you have to write the cost of the sefer creases. It has to be written, and something on the ground technically is not written. So therefore, right, because that's detached, right? So therefore, such a case is pasul deraisa. So therefore, the list case is a pasul deraisa. The third case. The third case says we said that documents that were in the Goyish court, those are okay, except for Gitin Ash and Shechar Avadim. And L'chara, right? The reason why, because Goyim they went that and signed on it. So therefore, the document, the get was nothing. The get was nothing, even midoraisa. So you listen to the case of midoraisa. So Gemara says no, Viktani, Uktani. So Gemara says no, but Eidim Sira. We're talking about Eidim Sira, Ukarebi Elazar, according to Elazar. So we'll see the big machlokes later on. What is the main edus when it comes to gittin? Is it witnesses to seeing the get being delivered to her? And if the witnesses that we talk about witness her receiving something, that midoraisa is good. Or is it the fact that they sign on the document? That's the main part. That's the main part. So according to this, we're talking about the Eidim Asira was done kosher. It was just the document was signed and all that by Goyim, right? But it was delivered in front of kosher witnesses. So therefore, midoraisa, that's okay. Midoraisa, that's not okay. So that's the reason why it's written. Adamra Eidim Asira Karti. So the Gemara says, "I b'hamik tani sefer." The sefer says, "Rabbi Shimon Aimer af eluk sherim." Right? He says no. Even these in these cases that the Gitin Hashem are also kosher with signatures of the Kachavim. So he says Af Eluk Sherin, even Gitin Hashem of the Kachavim sign. And Zera says, why is that? Because Yara Rabbi Shimon she tossed the shoulder of the other. Because Rabbi Shimon agrees with Rabbi Elazar, they hold that the main witnesses are those who witness the handing over. So therefore, since they witnessed the handing over, so therefore everything is kosher midaraisa. So by the fact that Rabbi Shimon is arguing the Tanakama, Michlal, the Tanakama Saralo. The Tanakama, however, said, no, it's not Eidim Masira Karti, rather it's Eidim Ksiva Karti. It's the main thing is writing it. Therefore, since it's written and signed by Avdik Kavim, even Midaraisa, it's no good. So you see, Midaraisa, it's no good, Psul Midaraisa, so therefore, why is it written? So Gemara says, no, really, everybody holds Eidim Masira Karti in this Machlegas. And Ikabayu is Shemos Muvakim. And they're arguing about what the names are on the document. You know, the whole reason, really, Midaraisa, it's okay. As long as Jewish witnesses saw it, it's good. It's signed by bad people, by Avdik Kachavim. So that's technically okay. Midaraisa, it's okay. But what do we say? Even if it was witnessed by Jewish witnesses, we'll say it's no good. Why? Because people might think that Obdei Kochavim could go ahead and sign on a get, and maybe they'll be the ones who also witness it, and therefore they'll come machshir a bad get. So therefore we'll say, you know what? If their names are written on it, we don't want people to get confused, right? So what's the case of the Ikabanayos? So Shemus Muvakin. So let's say there's a name that is identified as Avi Kochavim. So if it's identified as Avi Kochavim, we're not going to be confused that this Avi Kochavim can be an Eidim Asira, right? So therefore, in this case, we're not going to be confused by Eidim Asira. However, when it comes to if someone we don't know if he's Jewish and he signed on it, he might become the Eid Masira and observe that, and therefore we don't want that to happen. So therefore, we're talking Shemus Mavakin. The guy signs, right? His name is Mike O'Brien, right? So therefore, he knows that's not guy. He won't be able to go ahead and be our Eid Masira, right? So therefore, that's the machlokes between the Tanakama and the Rabbi Shimon. It's Shemus Mavakin. So the Gemara says, "I the Chazar Daraisa." But what the case of Chazar Daraisa? In other words, one who wants to go ahead and be Chayzer Midaraisa, it's no good. But Ketani, nevertheless, it's a psul Daraisa. It doesn't even work in Daraisa because the husband has to want to give it. If he doesn't want to give it, so it's no good. And it's written. So Elaki Ketani Milsa Delese B'Kedusha. Right? He writes something when it comes to, that does not apply by Kedushin. Milsa the Isa B'Kedushin like Ketani. Right? And something that does not apply by Kedushin is not written. Something only applies right? Only something that does not apply by Kedushin. So therefore it's different by Kedushin. Now it's over here. What's the reason? So when it comes to, right, when you give over something, so a person can only be Zachin L'Adam Shalom B'Fanav, right? He only merits something, do something good for someone else without them knowing about it. So therefore when the Shaliach accepts, right, when he gets the document, so that's not necessarily good for, good for her. He can't do it without her knowing, right? It's a chov, right? Her getting divorced, right?
For one of them.
Yeah. So we say in this case, right? So therefore, you can't do it without the consent. The Gemara says, "I have chazar gufa isa b'kedushin," right? So it says but the case of marriage, right? Also talks about a person gives, hey, go ahead and be Makadish this woman for me. And then the guy is going, he calls on and says, you know what? I don't want you to be Makadish for her for me, right? So that's the case of Kedushin. So Gemara says, no, B'shlichus Bal Korcha the Begrushin Isa, but Kedushin less. No, but the two are different. When it comes to the Shlichus of Gerushin, so therefore, a woman, right? Yes, she does have to go ahead and receive it, but let's say she doesn't want it, right? So it's too bad, right? She doesn't, right? Just because she doesn't want to get divorced, she still has to go ahead and receive it. But when it comes to Kedushin, if the woman doesn't want it, so therefore that doesn't work. So therefore, yes, technically there is Chazar when it comes to Kedushin, but it's not the same level of Shlichus because the Shlichus by Gerushin can be done Bal Karcha. But however, when it comes to Kedushin, that cannot be done Bal Karcha. Fine. Now you mission. So he's also there. Kol Gat Sheishel of Eid Kusi Puzzle.
Unless the father forces her.
Forces her to what?
Meaning if she's not, if she's in her father's household, you can up until certain age.
Because he's
right.
because he's accepting
Right,
Kedushin.
exactly.
It's not her. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Very good. So any Kol Gat Sheishel of Eid Kusi Puzzle, any get that has a signature of a witness sounds like aid, right? Is puzzle except for if the kusi signed upon a divorce document or a freedom document for the eved, that does work. All right, utani, all right, utanai, right? They brought this document for, I guess, I get to Rabbi Gamliel in this town and get the isha how you aid kusim, and the witnesses on there were signed kusim. Right, they were kusim. V'hikshir, and he machshired such a document. So that was the Mishnah. Zok the Gemara. So first of all, Mani Masnisin, who is the author of Mishnah who says that Eid Kusi cannot go ahead and why can he can only sign on Gitinashim Meshachavadim, but not other types of documents? So who is the author of a Mishnah? So Lo Tanakama, Velo Rabbi Eliezer, Velo Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. It's not that I don't believe it's a Tanakama, Rabbi Eliezer, or Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. Why is that? The Tanya that advice matzahs kusi muteris. So the matzah baked by a kusi, let's say we're concerned, right? There might be chametz, so it's muteris. It's okay. A kusi made it. It's okay. The other and he can also fulfill his obligation of a mitzi matzah with matzah that was made by a kusi. And Rabbi Elazar, he says, no, that is no good. No, Rabbi Elazar says, no, kusim are not good because they're not careful with mitzvahs. You can't use it. So Tanakama says you could. Rabbi Elazar says you can't. Any mitzvahs that they were makal upon themselves, they do better than in the regular Jews. But if they didn't, then they don't do it at all. So now let's go back to our case. Our case says Kusi can sign on a get, but they can't sign on, let's say, a regular sale document.
Right.
Why is that? So Mani Masu, who's author of Mishnah? Tanakama, who said that you can use their matzah, afilu shashtaros nami. So they're believed by mitzvahs, they're believed by matzah, they should be believed by regular documents. And Rabbi Elazar, if it's Rabbi Elazar says that we don't trust them at all, if you look at Isha Namilo, they should be able to sign on a get for a woman. If they were makabel upon themselves to do gitei nashim or sign certain or sign documents carefully, if they're careful about being an aid, then they should be believed to be an aid in any type of document, even a sale document. And if they didn't, they're not careful being witness. They should be believed for a get isha. So the Gemara says, maybe they're only careful to be witnesses when it comes to a get document in a shtar shecher, but they're not careful when it comes to, let's say, a sale document. So why does it say only one witness, right? It says, kol get sheyesh of aid kusi. If they're careful about gittin and shtar shecher, they should, even two of them could sign because they're better than regular Jews. Why did Rabbi Elazar say only one is enough? Eight echad kusi bilva. So Gemara answers Rabbi Elazar. Really, it's Rabbi Elazar who was the second opinion who said that we don't trust them. We don't trust them with their mitzvahs. Then Rabbi Elazar could go in the chasim Yisrael l'vasayv. So we're talking about, there was a signature, we said 1-8, right? So there's 8 kusi first, and underneath there was a Jew, right? So a regular Jew. So therefore, he obviously, right, signed after the kusi signed. So he was basically giving his haskama, I'll sign with this guy, meaning that everything was legit. If it wasn't legit, if the kusi was bad, if he didn't witness or whatever it was, then he wouldn't have signed underneath the kusi. Dilav the kusi chaver, he wouldn't have signed it with him.
We also make it easy. I think we also try to make it for a get shikra for a woman to be able to get divorced.
Oh, to make it we're more makeup. Very good. The haki. So the Gemara says, "I feel shtaros nami." What other shtaros? If you have a sale document and there's a kusi and underneath him is a regular Yisrael, why is that all good? Because he signed it. Elam rinan. Rav Chashavak Laman the Kashish Mine. What's the reason why in a sale document? Maybe the guy says, "Hey, look, I'm a young guy. Or I'm 20 years old, so I'll sign at the bottom, have somebody else sign above me. I'll show some respect to someone older than me." Maybe that's what happened in the sale document, and that's why he's on the bottom. So to this case, the gittin. So once again, you haven't created a chilik between gittin and shtar shtaros. Samra Papa Zaysameres Edi Aget in Chaysmin Zebleize. We say in case of gittin. It must be, it's different. In Gittin, they have to sign together. In the sale document, they don't. And why is that? My time, Ravashi, Gzeira, Mishum Kulcha. Right? Because it's a case of kulchem. In other words, a person says, "Hey, all you guys, write and sign a get for my wife." He tells 10 people, "Write and sign a get for my wife." So then one of them writes it, and all of them have to sign. All of them don't sign it. It's no good. So therefore, we have a decree in that case, and therefore they give it. It doesn't work if they didn't do shlichus. So therefore, there's a rule. The rule is they have to sign together at the same time. They have to be together.
It's not kosher.
So we said in the Mishnah, and the Mishnah says one is right. So over here, so two would not be good. So two would not be good at this point. At this point,
it's okay.
right? Because he's right,
can watch it
because he's signing with the other one. But even now, according to this, if they sign together, maybe it doesn't necessarily even have to be on top because they have to sign together. So when it says Gufa, so Amr Be'ezer lahichshibo ela eidechad, as Yigal was touching this point out, only one witness, Kusi Bilvat. My Kamash Milan, what's the Quran going to teach us? Tanina, we already learned this in our Mishnah. Kol get sheishal love aid Kusi puzzle. One aid is okay. Gemara says Imas Nisan, as far as the Mishnah have a mean afilu trade. Maybe I would have thought two people. Nami. So I said one. V'hadetani eight. Mishum the shtaros maybe come to the issue that other shtaros afilu chad nami lo. Other shtaros, even one is no good, right? So therefore, in case of one, eight kusi, other shtaros are no good, and gita nashim are good. And by the way, gita nashim are also good even if it was two. But we just wanted to do the one to show that shtaros are no good.
Kusi is okay because of the ivri on top, underneath it. If you're doing it together, kusi can't be together with a Jew.
No, but they can both sign at the same time. So
But at the same time, it's the reason why before we were a makel is because you have an ivri underneath to make that kusi.
but if they're signing at the same
valid.
time, who cares if it's top or bottom? We know they're
The
signing
whole
at the same
point
time.
is because of it has to be a Jew that's going to make a get shechar.
But they're both signing at the same time. If you have a
I
zera
understand.
that they sign at the same time, so then the order really doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, but the point is that an actual a kusi is not valid to make a get work unless there's a
With another Jew,
Right.
but they're signing together, then good. Right? I mean, that's what the Gemara said. The Gemara says, I trelo, two is not good. Valktani, myself, but look at the second part of the mission. Valktani, myself, if you Lifnei Rabbi Gamliel, Lekvar tonight. It says or Tani, whatever, is get Isha. Vahayu Edav Edikusim. They brought forward get Isha, and there were witnesses sign on it. They kusim the Hikshir. Some Rabbi Tani Edav, right? Says okay, there was a one witness. Not don't say Edav. Rabbi Maliadim trade really was stupid. Rabbi Gamliel Mifleg Palik. Really, he actually Rabbi Gamliel argues. Rabbi Gamliel says two kusim are okay. And then our mission is basically about Rabbi Gamliel Machshir B'Shnayim. Rabbi Gamliel is Machshir B'Shnayim. Ma'asanami Shivi Lifnei Rabbi Gamliel Lekfaru tonight and get Isha V'Hayu Edav Edi Kusim. There are two kusim sign V'Hichshir and he Machshired it. Fine. Now Mishnah. Mishnah says. So we said all shtaros that go into the courts of Al-Chavim, even signed by of the Chavim, even though the signatures are by of the Chavim, everything is good. Because they are not commanded in those mitzvahs, therefore they can't really jump in. Now Shimon says even though they're kosher, right? We're only talking about when they were made a hedyot, right? Well, when they were only made, when it was done, quietly, not for hesed. We'll soon have to see what that means. That we'll get to on Sunday. But now the Gemara says, so pasuk v'tani. So you said all documents are okay and are kosher of the Kachavim except for Gitin Nashim Shechavadim. All documents, meaning a sale document, a gift document. Now, so Bishlam Mecher, I understand why a sale document is okay if it's done in the courts of the Kachavim signed to it. Right? In other words, when they have in their courts, they have to witness actually money going from one to the other.
Right.
To say it's a sale, right? You go to the title company, they see the wire transfer, that's the sale, so therefore they can give over the document. So it says, that's when he acquires it. So it's not the transferring the money. The shtar is only the shtar is only a way to remember, right? It's just documenting what happened. It's proof, right? But it doesn't create the transaction. Not handing over the shtar is what makes the kinyan. The handing over the money is make the kinyan, and that's done in the courts. Because if they didn't go ahead and give the money handed over in front of the courts, because of the shtar, then the courts wouldn't have allowed, right, this document, this proof document to come out. So over there, in the case of the courts, case of a sale document, I understand why it works, because we know there must have been a transaction, because otherwise the judges would not have allowed this document, this proof document to come out. Elamatana, but a gift, right? Ma'ika kanji. Live Ashtara is a gift document, right? So there's no transaction. I'm gifting you something. I'm gifting you my car. Here's the document. So the document is creating it, but the document is signed by Ovdi Kachavim. So if that's the case, it's just a piece of parchment because it doesn't have ne'amanos to it. So Shmuel, Dina the Mechusa Dina. So Shmuel gives one there and says, no, since this is the din in the land, then you can go ahead and they can sign documents. So therefore, we go ahead and we say this has the power because they hold up gifts and we hold up gifts, and this is in their courts. So too, that should work for us when it comes to even Mashtar Matana or Biboy Seba, Tani, Chutz, Me, Kid Gite Nashim. In other words, all documents are good except for those that are like Gitei Nashim. What are Gitei Nashim? That's a document which creates the kinyan, right? And something that creates the kinyan, that is not good on just the documents. If there's other things going on, such as a sale, then we say in such a case that the sale is okay because the sale was witnessed by the judges, but just if the document itself is the power of the kinyan, that doesn't work in all types of documents when it comes to chesima of the. All right, we'll stop here.
Stop.
Mitzvah Shem.